So, what can we do? That's why we're here. This is why your Stormwater Committee and all of your lake committees are meeting and working on all of these solutions. But what can we do as homeowners and as individual people? So one of the things that we can do is called low impact development. And all this is just trying to mimic what already happens in nature. Let biology and ecology do what it's supposed to do. Plant plants that can uptake water, allow that water to filter through plants and through soil. Give that water a chance to be filtered, to be uptaken, to be cleaned before it hits our lake here and before it impacts all of our activities and all of our biological processes here. So another term for low impact development is green infrastructure, and there are lots of benefits. This is just a list of some of those things. Again, you can protect communities from flooding and stormwater runoff. You can groundwater recharge if you let that water get back down into the soil and deep into our infiltration areas. You can protect wildlife habitat. You can reduce your maintenance costs because you don't have to update your infrastructure as often if you're using biological processes. These particular installations are often very aesthetically pleasing because you are putting plants, you're putting flowers, you're providing habitat for pollinators and for birds and all of those things that we want to promote in the environment. You're minimizing your site disturbance because, again, you are getting back to nature, getting back to the ecosystem level. You can also mitigate the urban heat island effect. So all of that concrete and all of that asphalt will actually increase the temperature of the environment around the surrounding area. So if you have green spaces, if you have trees, if you have plants, it will actually reduce the temperature locally at that area. And you can read all of these things. I'm not going to read all of them, but these are just some green infrastructure benefits and low impact development benefits that are helping us reduce stormwater and to improve that water quality as we go through it. Okay, so what can the typical homeowner do? So here are the 4 main things that you could do that are relatively achievable by the individual person, and we'll go through all of them. So let's start with disconnection. So if you have a downspout that is on your driveway, disconnection is just moving it from the driveway, which is a hard impervious surface, onto the lawn. If you can't do anything else, this is the simplest, most straightforward thing you could possibly do. Just move it from the driveway onto your lawn to allow the soil and to allow those turf plants and even into your garden to soak up that water, to allow that water to filter through the different layers of the soil, and you are improving stormwater, you're preventing stormwater at the site. So you are reducing flooding, you're minimizing pollution, and you are soaking up that water right where it's being generated. So that water won't even make it down into the lake, into the water body. And so you're reducing your impact, you're reducing the contamination load, and you are doing something that's literally moving the downspout 3 inches. That's it. That's all you're doing. So this is embarrassing that this particular rooftop has the runoff going directly into the storm drain. We don't want that to happen. We don't want the water to go right into the storm drain. And this is embarrassing because this is a fairly forward-thinking environmental nonprofit in Newark. I won't tell you which one it is, but their downspout is directly connected to the storm drain. So there's no chance for interception there. But we don't want to do that. We want to just break that connection, move that stormwater downspout from the driveway onto your grass. That's the easiest thing you could possibly do. Just allow that water to go into the soil, allow the turf to uptake it, or move it into your garden or whatever works for you, but get it off of that hard surface and off of the stormwater system. Okay, so another thing you could do is harvest the rainwater. this will do all kinds of things. So not only are you reducing stormwater runoff, but you are not using drinking water to water your plants. You can irrigate with collected rainwater. It reduces your utility bills a little bit. I mean, you're not saving a lot of water, but there's no reason to use drinking water to water your plants. Why are you using drinking water that's very high quality standard water to irrigate plants or your lawn? This can also prevent localized flooding. You're keeping the water out of your basement. You're directing it towards a different location. And then this also reduces pollution because you're preventing stormwater, again, at the source. Does anybody already have rain barrels or collect rainwater? Anybody? Nobody? Good, good, okay, good, excellent. So the thing about rainwater harvesting is that you need to actually use the water. You need to make sure you're using it before the next rainstorm, right? Which when it rains almost every day is a problem. Again, I was telling someone before the talk that the average rainfall for New Jersey is about 44 inches per year. In 2018, we got 64 inches of rain. So that's about 50% increase in just a single year. So hopefully that's not a trend. Hopefully that was an anomaly because we really don't want it to rain every single day. But collecting rainwater is a great resource. It kind of changes that mindset of out of sight, out of mind in terms of stormwater, and it thinks of rainwater as a resource rather than as a nuisance. So just keep that in mind. So another thing you could do is to install a rain garden. Have you guys heard of rain gardens? Good, good. So a rain garden is simply a shallow depression that has specific plants installed in it that is designed specifically to capture stormwater. So you're just trying to capture and hold that stormwater on site just long enough to keep it out of the stormwater system and to allow that water to infiltrate down into the soil and to prevent any generation of runoff that could run off down into your lake here, into the receiving water body. And so rain gardens are designed specifically to hold water for less than 24 hours. This is not a pond, it's not a pool, it's not standing water, it's not supposed to be breeding mosquitoes. This is just holding water for a couple hours and then infiltrating down into the soil so that you don't have that runoff, you don't have standing water or water standing in the system to get all of that, allowing the water to infiltrate rather than run off down into Packanack Lake here. So the plants that are chosen in rain gardens are specific based on the plants that are in the base area need to be able to withstand water conditions, so flooded conditions, and then the plants that are up in the different zones have to withstand certain dry conditions, because when it's not raining, your rain garden's going to be dry. This is draining within 24 hours. We're not breeding mosquitoes. We don't have a standing pond or pool. The water is really moving through there. If you have drainage issues on your property, please don't install your rain garden right where you have a drainage issue, because the water really needs to be moving through there. But here are some examples of rain gardens. These are both in Essex County for this particular example, but you can see that they're very aesthetically pleasing, and you can put them just about anywhere. You can put them in your residence. This one in Newark is only about 70 square feet, so it's very small, 7 by 10 rain garden, so you don't need thousands of square feet to install a rain garden. This is something that can be done by the homeowner to capture that stormwater and to prevent all that runoff from getting down into the lake. So rain gardens do all kinds of things. So they are, again, allowing groundwater recharge. You are reducing localized flooding. You are reducing wet spots on your own property if you had, depending on how it is designed. You're also providing some wildlife habitat for all of our pollinators. Depending on which plants you put in there, you're providing seeds and providing, providing habitat and a place for birds and for small critters to live, especially during the winter. And so you're not just providing the stormwater benefit, you're also providing a wildlife benefit in addition to that. You can also use native plants in rain gardens that are both water tolerant, salt tolerant, and climate tolerant. So they don't need a lot of water, they don't need a lot of care. Those native plants are already adapted to New Jersey's climate. And then you are controlling stormwater and reducing stormwater pollution right at the source. And this also adds an aesthetic benefit to your landscape, because instead of this turf area, now you have all of these plants that look much better. Most people think that flowers look better than turf, but those are some benefits of rain gardens. Okay, so another thing that you could do as a homeowner, now this one's a little more advanced. You do have to plan this one a little bit more, but using permeable pavement rather than traditional pavement, this pavement allows water to filter down through either the pores of the concrete and the asphalt, or if you have concrete pavers, the water will flow through the spacing in between the pavers. So again, you have the possibility of groundwater recharge. You have low life cycle costs here. These types of pavements do not go through the freeze-thaw cycle that traditional asphalt or traditional concrete would go through. You don't have potholes because that water is infiltrating as soon as ice and snow start to melt, so you don't have that heave issue that you may have with traditional pavements. Again, you can also mitigate the urban heat island effect, because those types of pavements will actually absorb heat rather than send it back into the atmosphere and increase the temperature. And these systems also have several layers of gravel underneath them, so you get contaminant removal as the water moves through them, just like a filtering system. And so here we have, just to point this out, we have concrete pavers. This is permeable concrete, this is porous asphalt, and then these are called, what are they called? Lattice pavers that allow grass to grow through them. And then here, just for your visualization, we have a traditional asphalt driveway, and then this is porous asphalt. So you can see how wet this is on the traditional side, and then here is porous asphalt that is letting the water run through it. So again, this is a little bit more advanced. Permeable pavement will always cost more than traditional pavement because it's an entire stormwater management system, but it has all of these benefits and it has a much longer life cycle than traditional asphalt. So consider it, but you will need an engineer and you will need a professional company that knows what they're doing when you're installing this kind of system. So keep that in mind. Don't do it under your own supervision. Make sure that you have a licensed engineer helping you with permeable